Welcome to a special quick time edition of the Beyond Normal podcast. I'm your host, Kenny Groom. Short conversations, fast pace, big ideas for the founders out there. Today, we're joined by Mbere Monjok. She is the product strategy leader at Google, working on the intersection of AI, media, emerging technology overall. And in addition to that, in her career, she's also consulting and doing some amazing work, bringing knowledge to founders on these hot topics. So without further ado, I want to bring Mbere to the stage. How's it going?
Going good. It's a good Friday so far. But yeah, excited to be on this podcast to share more about my background and my journey.
Love it, love it. So I gave a quick intro for the folks, right? I did high level, 10,000 feet in the air. Let the folks know what you've been focusing on and what your passion is and why we're having this conversation today.
For sure. So I'm Mbere. I am a program lead at Google where I've been working on shipping and launching Gen AI features at the intersection of just product strategy as well as digital commerce. Um, been very excited about building an innovation. I've always worked in that space, started my career off in consulting, building large enterprise scale opportunities for clients that wanted to do something new in their industry. And then now took that to Google to build things within the AI space. So I love working with new and exciting technology. So working with founders is my passion on top of my day job. So spending time consulting on AI strategy, growth hacking, branding are some of the things that I spend time doing.
I love it. I love it. And so you being in that role you're in right now, you see a lot of things what's going on in this space, specifically around business, the use cases for some of these cool technologies. The challenge we're seeing now when I talk to other founders, I myself, there's just like it's hard for us to determine like what's real and what's noise. There's a lot of noise, there's a lot of ads coming at us. So
Yep.
what's a big mistake you see founders making when it comes to this new way of AI technology today?
No, that's a good question. And it's something that I talk through with a lot of the founders that I've spoken with. When I go to hackathons or see them present their product or their use case, it's always about the capability of AI and like we are AI powered or we're providing an AI solution, as opposed to what's the true value that your product is bringing to the consumer. I think we're getting away from thinking about what people really need and why we're building something for them in the first place, as opposed to talking about the tech stack as the most impressive part. When you are building something, the highest value that you can provide is like what you're alleviating for your user. And I think leading with that is more important than what I've been hearing founders lead with.
I love that it's so easy, or it seems so easy what you just said, right? To whatever you're doing, the solution you're providing to say, hey, I am the AI powered version of that,
Right.
right? But it's like what you're solving is what's probably going to bring in the money and not just saying you're AI driven by itself. It
Yes.
seems intuitive, but for some reason, as a founder, it's hard for us to get, wrap our head around that. And on the flip side of that, I know you're seeing some use cases out there where AI is adding a lot of benefit by default. Can you talk about maybe a use case that you've seen where AI is really creating some real value for the businesses, and maybe we could pay attention to that, as founders and business owners to see how they're doing it in that industry. Anything
No,
sticking out?
yeah. There's a couple things. So one of the big areas that was really hard to hone in on was getting unstructured data, taking the information and then creating some sort of view or summary so that you can act upon it. So that could be review data, that could be, what you're getting from customer requests, like sales information that is not necessarily in a format, understanding how to get that data scrubbed in a format, a view, a dashboard has been really valuable for founders who didn't have time to either hire somebody to build this code and to be able to visualize it in the way that they want. So the vibe coding era has given founders a way to really think about their analytics a little more and find the types of data that was hard for them to even like look into in the beginning.
That's dope. So it's helping synthesize some of those things on the back end so those decisions can be made quicker. I
Yes.
love that. I love the
Yep.
sound of stuff like that. Anything where I don't have to spend my day in a spreadsheet and I can actually talk to
Yes.
customers is
Mhm.
powerful for me. Like,
Yeah, you can build that really quickly just by like, taking the information you have or even prompting for what additional sources haven't you considered. So a lot of times we think about giving AI the inputs that we have. One thing that I have encouraged founders to do is like you ask it what you should be doing. Like think about it more as like that additional partner. Like you don't always have to use what you know as the baseline. It could maybe think about things that you haven't thought about. Obviously it's AI, you are the steerer of the ship, so you still control the narrative. But sometimes if you don't know how to do something, prompt it to give you a direction so that you think about it the right way.
I like the product lens that you're bringing to this conversation. I don't always wear that hat because I'm trying to find a solution right in that moment that serves a need for our customers and make that
Yes.
transaction a lot of time as a business owner, as a founder. So I'm curious, what's for you, what separates that great product from, say, showing that great demo, that shiny, ad to a customer that gets them to buy for you? Like, what does a great product look like separate from just showing somebody a demo or something where it looks cool and they want to buy in?
Yeah, I think the great product has specificity that is really targeted to a particular, like there's the user and then there's like the sets of problems that that user may have depending on the industry that you're in. The more you can say like, hey, here's a journey I know you've walked through, and here's how this particular thing can fix it for you, whether that demo, is robust or even short. It doesn't necessarily need to be a demo that has like all the bells and whistles, but that specificity of like, here's the one way we can like fix this issue, and then here's the vision for this. Demos are meant to be short, scrappy, quick, and we can do that now. But the part I think that's missing is the storytelling of like what's next after this piece and how is it continue to build upon the problem you're solving for me.
You mentioned storytelling in there. I love that. I love that. And so going back to what you've seen founders maybe, I think for me, I'll speak personally, right? For me, when it comes to like the product strategy and like you said, laying that all out, sometimes it can be complex to somebody,
Yes.
right? You got all these flows and all these things on the back end and stuff is talking to each other. So I'm curious, like what have you seen founders overcomplicate when it comes to delivering value for their product? Like, is there a certain piece of that process where you think founders are just thinking about it too much and they should really simplify that for their customers?
Yes. So a couple things. I think so one area has been on how do I get data from users? There's surveys, you can go out and do focus groups. Sometimes you could just ask people in your like immediate world really quickly. So getting or ask social media. I know it's not always representative of the large base, but you need to find the quickest path to getting the information about whether people like your product, like your offering, and sometimes overthinking the nuts and bolts of I got to create this survey, I have to send it out. You can just do a quick poll on Instagram and get immediate signal. Would y'all prefer this date or that date? Would you like to have this color or that color? If I did it in this shape or that shape, quick signals. Sometimes it's a little hard to get your head around easy. You should still build the like infrastructure to be able to get data and synthesize it over time, but not thinking about not hindering yourself from moving forward if you have those quick signals at hand. So that's one area.
I like that, and it's you're painting this picture for me where it's like as a founder you say, hey, I want to get it to maybe 100%. It's not going to be
Yeah,
100% from day one, right? You may get it to
it's not.
50, 60, 70, and then that feedback from the customer is really what gets it to, well, we hope it gets to 100%. It
We
probably
hope so.
never does.
Yeah.
But that's a conversation for another day. But I'm curious with that because you're taking us. This segue is amazing, by the way. You're taking us into the idea of building trust, right?
Yes.
Early and often, getting that feedback. So in this age that we're in now, like, what does trustworthy AI even mean?
Oh man, that's a loaded question because it's a one AI in itself is prone to giving you things that may not be true.
Hmm.
Um, but we have to work within the confines and the constraints of that reality while doing our best to overcome that with the information we have, with the training of the model that we have. I think being transparent about how you're overcoming those challenges is number one, really, really important. If you're using, you know, data that is missing information for Black and brown people, then say that this is how we're hoping to close that gap, but this is where we're starting right now. And like not just saying that, but having a true plan and action to close it. Um, Having those disclaimers, like the privacy disclaimers, making sure people are aware that like this is a risky territory to enter, depending on what your product is. Different industries have different standards, so you need to take that into consideration. But the honesty piece has to be there. A true plan to close the gap has to be there. And then also having people share what they're seeing that is incorrect. So you let your customer be part of the practice with you. It's like, hey, if we send you information that you know that was like this is incorrect or this image wasn't exactly what it should have been, give us that feedback and let us know what happened because it only helps the founder.
That is powerful. It's so weird that you said that. To me, it seems we're at this point where we all have said, "Hey, we've got too much data."
Yeah,
But then, like you just said, like there's gaps in the data, right? Like
yeah,
there's points where black and brown people may not truly be represented, and then you got
yeah,
people building proxies and making assumptions on these groups of people, and those assumptions at times can be harmful.
yeah.
Do you think we're at a point now where the trust, having that trust, is actually more important than the capability of these tools itself?
I do think so. I do think that having a mechanism for letting people be comfortable with AI, and sometimes that is really leaning into the change management. At the end of the day, if you're in the AI bubble, and I suffer from this too, where I'm because I work in the space every day and I work with people who are really excited about the change with some healthy skepticism. I think everyone's at the same level that I'm at. And the reality is that most people don't have that level of exposure and are unsure of how to even get to that level. So change management around like introducing things, giving education around it, having people understand here's how you can use it. If you are skeptical, here are some, protocols you can do. Maybe you give people the ability to like confirm before things move forward. Before you connect it to your Gmail or your bank accounts. Like you need to have something that helps people along every journey where with AI and make sure that like we can handhold those who are not as close to it get there.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'll be honest. I connected quite a few apps and very to some of
That's
these tools.
okay. That's
You
okay.
got me thinking, like, what exactly did I sign up for?
Yeah. Well, I think there's going to be a point where we need the level of connectivity to be able to be as productive as we want. Now, yes, there's still risks that you need to take into consideration, but we also can't test out it's a double-edged sword, right? You want AI to get better at certain things like finance and healthcare, but we're also sensitive about how quickly we move in that area because of the level of like privacy and personal information that is available, and the ability for people to like take advantage of that. So a lot of people in like AI space are kind of grappling with how do we push and pull, like push people enough to say like, hey, we need to get more comfortable, but also keeping the guardrails in place because we know that there's real risks at play. So there is an answer for that, but it is a there, we're moving forward, and that's the best that we can do is taking one step at a time every day.
Yeah, I love that. Segue in there, you mentioned moving forward and right. So a lot of founders, a lot of business owners are just trying to figure out like where the opportunities are going to be in the next few years, right, for themselves specifically.
Yeah.
Where do you think founders should be paying attention over the next few years in terms of getting value from these tools?
Hmm. Getting value. So there's a range. There's using it for like input and output. Like I give you information, I give the AI tool that I'm using information and it gives me something back. It's like here's an image, here's an audio, I created a slide deck, a book. You want to get to a place where you're training, and I know everyone's been talking about agents, and I hate to bring this point up again, but having workflows, tasks, and capabilities that can run outside of you providing an input constantly is some true like productivity, right? So if you know that this is something that happens on a reoccurring basis and you need to take that off your plate, training an agent to be able to like understand that workflow really well, putting the checks and balances in place, obviously, and like human review is still important at some points. But if you want to unlock true productivity, getting past the initial input output phase into having someone kind of be an assistant. And by someone, I mean the AI tool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. I think there's so many tasks that like they just end up piling up on a founder's plate and they never truly get done. And so whether it's tech debt, whether it's just,
Yeah,
business,
reviewing emails or like
yeah.
understanding briefs that you're sent, summarizing conversations, things like that.
Mm-hmm. And it just I see the benefit, like the efficiency already, which I can tell it, hey, just like remove the gunk from my email box. Like just remove the stuff where I don't know who this person is.
Unsubscribe me. Unsubscribe me.
Oh my gosh, the unsubscribe. It's so crazy. Like I used to download, and it shows where we are with technology. I would always download those apps that would be like, hey, here's the email chain that you or the company that you haven't interacted with them for years. You should probably unsubscribe. I probably don't even need
Yeah,
someone a lot of times to lay out the list for me versus just unsubscribe me right from
you
some of
can
these things
build
and
some sort of scheduler that just does that automatically.
yeah, I like that. I'm gonna look into that because I've already given these tools all the information to all my systems like you mentioned earlier. I really need to check that. But I want to stay on this topic around how businesses, founders specifically, can get value opportunities from this space. I want to
Yep.
dive into Black founders specifically.
Yep. Yep.
Is there something like a specific call out that you may have for Black founders to make sure we're represented in this AI wave? Like what should we all be doing in this moment?
It's a good question. Yeah, because what I have seen, at least like when it comes to like where AI fear is and AI understanding, the numbers show it's like Black founders being behind. And we have a lot of opportunity at hand to build things that are sustainable long term and also create like being a founder is also being able to create wealth in the future for yourself because you have something that you own. So if you want to use one, I mean, that's also a prompt that you can do. It's like, how can I, as a Black founder, build something that is sustainable, build something so that others can use, like reaching back and also pulling people forward in your industry is really important. There's always not that many of us. So when you learn something, can you create communities? Can you get together and share? Sharing knowledge and information is also something that I know that doesn't happen as often as it should. And we should have more conversations around building businesses, building wealth, closing deals, what type of partnerships. Like a lot of times I'm seeing Black founders build in silos and not reaching out for help. Having partners who are better at something other than you. It takes a little bit of humility to like maybe recognize that. It's like, hey, I'm good at this part in my industry. Maybe someone else is building something and they're doing well with partnerships. Let me tap in and let me get some information.
I love that. I love that. It's interesting because the AI does uncover, like, we can use it to uncover parts of our business
Yeah.
where we may be, like me, for example, accounting, anything where it's like the back end and making sure this account talks to this one. I ain't your
Yeah.
person. I need to have an
Someone does it
accountant.
really well.
Yeah,
Someone does it really well.
somebody does that really well, and we got to be comfortable. To your point, having that, figuring out what our supply chain is, right, for our
Yeah.
business.
I'm
That's
not even talking
key.
about like an accountant, like someone probably who is a podcaster has figured out how their accounting system is dope. And so I think sharing and being deliberate about that is like really important because if we're gonna learn from others, we gotta learn from like each other.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I see. It's interesting that you say that. I've seen some of that, but there's definitely room to grow in terms of like, hey, like to your point, fellow podcasters, I built this tool. Hey, here's access to it. Feel free to make it your own prompt and like do it your own way. But here's how I set the system up. I've
Exactly.
seen some of that. But to your point, people are still like tinkering,
And
you know,
starting
at
from
like
scratch. Someone's done this before. We're working
hmm
too hard. We're working too hard.
I like that. Yes, I do not want to work too hard on stuff I don't have to. That's a fair. That's my takeaway right there.
Hey, we're working too hard.
Yeah. All right. So now we're gonna enter a little bit. Well, this makes sense for our quick time session. We're gonna enter a lightning round. Whatever's
Mm,
the first thing, first word, first item, first sentence that
okay.
comes to mind, just spit it out. All right.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Most underrated founder skill.
Ooh, it's definitely branding. I think, yeah, while it is something that you need to do ongoing, I think people don't spend enough time to think about like who do I really want to be long term.
Got it. Most overrated founder skill.
Mm. Ah, overrated founder skill.
Is there one in your mind?
Yeah, I was like, you kind of need all skills.
That's an
I think,
answer too. That's an answer too.
but the most overrated skill is like you spending time on the one that's not your bread and butter.
Okay. Okay. You just being able to do everything and be a jack of all trades.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
outsource, outsource.
Yes, I love that. I love that word. Best AI tool you're using right now.
Best AI tool I'm using right now. So I'm spending a lot of time in Gemini, doing a lot of like image creation, using it for, infographics, doing some like image editing work as well. So, you know, we do have a great image generation tool. So I'm
hmm
taking full advantage.
You know what? I went to my favorite restaurant a couple of days ago, and they talked about using Gemini's image generator. They typically would have to hire
Yep.
graphic designers and kind of go through this process, this long, drawn out process. They
Exactly.
took a picture of their burger, their sandwich, and they said, "Give me a flyer that says blank, blank, and blank." And before you know it, by the end of the day, they send it off to the printer. Like I'm talking like the big stuff, so you can like see if it's not right.
And visualize it. Yeah.
Yeah,
And also
visualize it.
prompt and make the changes. So I'm
hmm
currently doing a lot of like infographics. So the image generator is helping me out.
Yeah, like the flyers for like clubs and stuff like that. I'm noticing a couple years ago they weren't good, but now they're legit. Like they look
Yeah, I will
really.
say on that point, infuse a little bit of personality and specificity. They are
Yeah, for sure.
starting to look the same.
Yeah,
So
good point. Good point. Good
we
point.
might be using the same prompt. I don't know, but please make
Good
sure
point.
it fits
All
your
right.
brand.
All right. One thing founders should stop doing tomorrow because the day's over.
Yeah. Stop doing tomorrow. I think they should stop overthinking. I think they should definitely, if you have an idea, test it. Test it quickly. You don't have time to sit on something and realize like down the line someone else has either done it or you could have moved a little faster and been the one in front. AI is letting people move really quickly. So if you have something, test it, get the feedback really quickly, and kill it if it doesn't work.
Okay. Which one of these ranks higher for you for a founder? Product or distribution?
Hmm. You know,
Out the gate.
I would say you need a good distribution channel because there are some mediocre products that they're getting everywhere.
Well,
Our mind.
we all know what you're talking. We all know those products. We all see them every day, and it's like, how is this product? Oh, they've got the distribution. They've got the channels to make sure
Channel strategy,
we
go to
all
market.
see it. We all see their product every day, all day, and with that, they're gonna get some sales
Yeah,
of their
that's
product.
why that back end is really, really important.
I love that answer. And then rank these two: speed or quality out the gate for a founder.
You're gonna need some quality. I'm a big quality person. I think speed is important, but it will kill you in the long run. And if you're thinking long run, just focus on that quality.
Got it. Got it. Well, appreciate you for taking part in our first lightning round. Hope it wasn't too stressful, but you gave some incredible answers for us. I just want to say, thank you for having this conversation. I took some notes on my end of some things I need to do, but I know our listeners, they're definitely going to have some takeaways from this. You're doing some amazing things in this space. And so appreciate you for having this conversation and coming on our platform today.
Thank
Final,
you.
final question.
Okay.
What's the hard truth about innovation that founders need to hear in this moment?
If you don't hop on the bandwagon, it will leave you behind.
Mm, that's a mic drop.
It will
Yeah.
leave you behind. So you can't be scared and you can't say that the time is not now. Any little thing you do to move forward, overcome, try something, test something, build it, gets you one step closer. Everyone around you is also kind of feeling it. So, find community and build something for yourself.
Yeah, we all figuring it out right now in real time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, we all figuring out in real time. Well, and Barry, thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed this quick time conversation, make sure you subscribe to Beyond Normal Podcast and share this with another founder or builder. Until next time, thank you for tuning in to this great episode of the Beyond Normal Podcast. Peace.
Peace. Bye.